All right, so we got the recording. And I didn't do introductions on the front end, so I apologize for that. My name is Michael Coley. I'm one of the instructional technologists at the Center for Teaching. Jenny and I are both are both on the Brightspace support team. I started in April. Jenny, you started in June, May?
June, yeah.
Okay, so
May, June, same thing. Oh.
So we are pretty new. And then Gretchen and Ryan, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, so I'm Gretchen Hughes. I am the Gradescope account manager for Vanderbilt. And then I have my colleague Ryan, who is typically our workshop lead. So we're helping out today with the team.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Ryan Miller. I'm a solutions consultant here at Gradescope, and typically I'm one of those that runs those workshops. So if we get some more workshops going, very good chance it'll be me on there with everybody.
That is our hope for sure. Then Melanie, I forget what department are you in on campus?
I'll be at Owen.
Okay.
And I actually just finished my doctorate at Peabody. But I was in a program that does not use Brightspace. So any references to any of that, I will know absolutely nothing about. So I'll be teaching at Owen in the executive education program.
Awesome. Okay. So Gretchen and Ryan, if y'all are ready, I will turn it over to y'all and we'll get rolling from there.
Okay, I'm going to stop my video just to save some internet and then share my screen. And minimize this. Can everybody see my slides? Good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so today we'll cover exactly what Gradescope is, the benefits of Gradescope. We'll go over the assignment types that are available to you. We'll show you some screenshots of Gradescope in Brightspace. And then Ryan will take you through grading a question directly in the environment, specifically focusing on AI-assisted grading. There's time at the end. We'll open it up for question and answer. But it's a small group, so please feel free to either pop something in the chat or stop us at any time with questions as we go. Okay, so Gradescope is one place to grade all of your student work, all of your exams, homework, and coding assignments if you're a computer science instructor. You can use your existing assignments. You don't have to modify those. And it works best with, or works both with paper assignments and a digital or online assignment. Sorry, my dog is in the background. So if you hear growling, that's what it is. So as far as Gradescope at Vanderbilt in the past 12 months, we have had 7,619 students actively submitted work in Gradescope. We've had 82 instructors and TAs or grading teams using Gradescope, and we've had 71,071 submissions to Gradescope. So certainly being used extensively, and definitely some room to grow there as well. Let me just make sure this slide loads. Okay. So we speak to a lot of faculty and staff and we hear the challenges with student assessment and feedback. These come up over and over again, whether it's a pandemic or not. So the first of which is that grading is definitely time consuming. It's difficult to maintain consistency of grading, either applying consistent feedback and point deductions for the same mistakes across all the students who take the same exam or across sections and between graders. Grading rarely surfaces knowledge gaps to help instructors and students move learning forward. And maintaining a permanent record of exams leads to office clutter, potential exposure for protected data, and there's also potential for cheating when students come back with post-exam edits. So what we'll go through today is how Gradescope can help address these challenges. So the first one of reducing time associated with grading. There are other time-saving features with the assignment types, including grouping similar answers, which Ryan will show you in a little bit. And then, so once you group those questions or those similar answers together, you can grade an entire group at once. So you can see an example of that over here in this little GIF. Another great way Gradescope helps reduce the time associated with grading is the ease in which students can submit requests to graders for regrades or ask for clarification in grading. So students no longer have to email you or bring an exam paper to the office for review. Everything happens within the Gradescope platform. Also, instructors can include the correct answer in the grading rubric, so there's no need to publish an exam key. Students will see the rubric here and any rubric items applied to their answer in their submission, where it helps them learn from their mistakes. So you can see that over here. Okay, as far as improving grader consistency, so the greater consistency in the grading process comes both from building and using a digital rubric or a grading scheme, and to consistently apply the grading criteria to all student submissions with the same errors. It also reduces bias. Grading question by question. So you would grade question 1 for all students and question 2 for all students and so on. That's just going to allow for the same, to promote that consistency. And then you can easily coordinate between professors, graders, TAs, and instructors anywhere or anytime. As far as pinpointing knowledge gaps, the valuable data provided by Gradescope surfaces the kinds of insights instructors need to adjust their instruction to the learning needs of students. So you can see trends and challenges in homework, quizzes, and tests to adjust both class-wide and individual needs. Per question and per rubric item statistics show how students, courses, and departments perform over time. And then finally, increasing data security. So all work is electronically returned directly to students. So this minimizes exposure to FERPA protected data. It's easier to maintain a permanent record of exams, and it reduces the office clutter. It also reduces the chance for students coming back with post-exam edits or an attempt to cheat. Okay. So as far as the Gradescope assignment types, we do have 5 available. The first one is an exam or a quiz. So this would be a templated based assignment. So this would be a paper-based exam. Instructors, a student would be able to fill this out in person. Instructors would upload it, or a student could upload this themselves. And then your grading options are either AI assisted, so the answer grouping, or you can do a question by question. The homework or problem set, this again could be paper-based, so you can see an example of that on the right side of this page. Students would upload this themselves, and then the grading option would be for the instructor or the grading team to grade individually by question. We do offer online assignments, so this comes in multiple choice, a select all, short answer, long answer, or file upload. All of the work is completed online, and students would upload this directly in the environment. And then your grading options would be automatically graded for some question types. So those multiple choice, select all, and short answer could all be automatically graded. And then manually graded question by question for the longer answer or the file uploads. For your computer science courses, we offer programming assignments. So instructors or students can submit code via GitHub or Bitbucket. Students would upload that assignment, and then your grading options would be either an auto-graded, manually graded, or a combination of the two. We also offer a code similarity check within the student pool, so you can see if students are copying each other's work within the that one assignment. We offer bubble sheet assignments as well. So this would be a template-based bubble sheet. This would be very similar to what you would see in a Scantron. So students would complete the work. Instructors could upload it. Students could also upload the assignment. And then the grading option would be an automatically graded as well for this one. Okay, Ryan, I'm going to switch over this is the Blackboard integration. So if there are no questions, I will switch over to Ryan.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So the way that it works inside of Brightspace D2L, it's really great because instructors and students can do everything through Brightspace. So even if they haven't created an account through Gradescope.com, when they go into Brightspace, they can create a module. Within that module, they can add an external learning tool like we're looking at here, and that will create a course level link for Gradescope. And when the instructor clicks on that for the first time, it will automatically create them a Gradescope account based on the email address associated with their Brightspace course. And it will then give them a screen where they can then, so they would choose Gradescope from that external learning tool, and that will create that link within the module. And then when they click on that module link, yep, that one right there, it will actually open up and automatically create that account for them. And it will take them to this screen here where they can now create a brand new course that's linked to their Brightspace course. So they've now created their account in Gradescope, and they're now creating a Gradescope course that is now linked to their Brightspace course. And that link inside the students' accounts will also take them into their Brightspace course. And then from there, all they need to do is they can go into their roster inside their Gradescope account. And then they can click on a link that says sync Brightspace roster. And it will pull over all those individuals into their Gradescope course, thereby creating them a Gradescope account as well based on their email addresses. So when the student clicks on that Gradescope module link in their site, it will open them into their Gradescope dashboard where they can then click on a Gradescope assignment and they can submit to that assignment. Go ahead, Gretchen, if I'm not sure what the next screen is here.
That was the last screen grab that we have of Brightspace, but I can stop sharing if you want to go live in the environment and show the AI assisted grading.
Sure. The other thing I'll mention there too is that also if they create a grade item in their Brightspace gradebook, they can then link their Gradescope assignment to that Brightspace grade item, and they'd be able to push their Gradescope grades into their Brightspace gradebook. So very easy to do there. Yeah, go ahead and unshare, and I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so now did you want me to just cover the AI assisted grading? Or start with that? What would you prefer?
Yeah, I think if we could start with the AI assisted, I think that was the priority. And then if we have some time, maybe we can do a different assignment type. Perfect.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's
exactly.
no problem at all.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up this assignment here. And these are the different questions on my quiz. So I just need to choose the question that I want to start grading. So I'll click on this question here, and it takes me to this screen. And these are just some examples of what my students have answered for this question here. And I always have the ability to grade them individually, or I can form answer groups first. So if I choose to form answer groups, I have 4 options here. Manual grouping, that's where I'd be able to see all my students' answers, and then I can drag and drop and create my own groups. If there's multiple choice questions in the quiz, I can choose the multiple choice marks, and then it will actually group those together. So all students that answered A, or all students that answered A and B, or all, and thereon. Or I can use math fill in the blank, which is kind of what we're seeing here. This works really well for shorter type answers. So an equation, a formula, a number, that type of thing. The longer the answer is, the tougher it is to group, obviously, because there might be little variables here and there, and it'll create separate groups for those folks. But for a question like this, where the answer is 1/2 x squared plus c, it will group them into those various answers. We also have text fill in the blank. That works really well for a short answer, a vocab word, true, false, that type of thing. So I'll go ahead and choose math fill in the blank, and then I'll click review answer groups. And now it's going to go through and process all those answers, and it's going to split them up into groups for me. And I have 20 total submissions. So it just went through and it grouped those 20. So I have 5 students here who have answered 1/2 x squared. I have 4 students that answered x squared, 2 that answered x squared plus c. For some reason, it created a separate group for those, just probably because of the handwriting. And then I had 2 answers that were correct at 1/2 x squared plus c. So now what it wants me to do is review these groups to make sure that they are actually correct and that it hasn't made any mistakes. So I just need to click on the box, or I can click review at first group down here. And when I open that up, I just want to make sure, yes, these are indeed all 1/2 x squared answers. So I can click confirm and review the next group. These students all answered x squared. I can hit confirm. These students were also x squared, or these students were x squared plus c. These students were x squared plus c as well. So we can group them together, and I'll show you how to do that again. And then we've got confirm our last group here, which is the correct answer at 1/2 x squared plus c. So now I can go ahead and click confirm and review the ungroup. So here are the outliers, the ones that it didn't group together. So for instance, here I have my 1/2 x squared plus c group that we already created. I can see that this is correct, possibly because this one looks maybe a little bit like a G. It decided it wasn't going to confidently group those together. But all I have to do is grab it and drop it over here into my correct group. Then for these students that didn't attempt, I can click create a new group, and I can call this, well, whatever I'd like, but I'll call it no attempt. So I've just created a brand new group that is empty. So I'm just going to drag and drop those folks over here. And this is kind of what you would do if you were manually grouping, is you just create your own groups this way as well. And then I have this student who actually submitted scratch paper along with it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this as is. Whatever I don't group, I'll grade individually at the end. So at this point, though, I can actually click grade answers. It's going to let me know I have 6 groups and 1 group ungrouped, and I'll click continue to grading. And now I'm looking at my students that answered 1/2 x squared. Now they're missing the C, they're missing the constant. So over here, I'm going to click add rubric item, and I'm going to type in there missing C. I'm going to say that that's worth missing 1 point. And now to grade these students, I can just click on that 2, take away 1 point. I've just given them all 2 out of 3 points. And you can see it's telling me I'm grading 5 submissions right now. Now I can click next ungraded. And now you can see I just graded those 5. And now I'm grading the 4 in this group. Now this student's missing the C and the half. So I'll click add rubric item over here again. And I'm going to type in there missing 1/2. And I'll say that that too is worth missing 1 point. So now to grade these students, I can say you're missing C and you're missing half. And then when I click next ungraded, I've now graded 9 students total. These students are correct. So I'm going to go ahead and click correct and take away 0 points and give them all 3 out of 3 and click next ungraded. And now I've graded 12. These are the students that didn't attempt. So again, I'll hit add rubric item and I'll say no attempt. That's worth missing all 3 points. And then I can click on that 4 and I can hit next ungraded. And then that's going to take me to my folks here that are missing the half. So I'll say, okay, you're missing 1 point for missing the half. I'll click next ungraded. These as well. So I'll click 3 again and click next ungraded. This is my student. This is that outlier that had the extra page, and that's fine. They can submit scratch paper along with their quiz. So I have the ability to flip through my pages with these little arrows here. I can flip to the next page, to the next page. I can see their scratch paper. I can see they got it correct. So I can score them correct and hit next ungraded. And now I've just graded all 20 students by grouping them together. So very easy to do. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, so yeah, that's very easy to do. Again, it's what happens when you create a templated fixed length assignment like this is we create when we create the assignment, we create our outline and we create these boxes. This is the box that it's going to search through and use handwriting recognition to create those groups for us. So I can make these boxes as small as I want. If I wanted to on my quiz, I could actually make a little box for them just to put in their answer. And then I could put the box just around their answer. And then they could still do all their scratch work around that and then just put in their answer into the tiny box that I've included. So that's another way if some instructors are worried that maybe it's going to search too much and it's going to create too many groups for them. You can make these boxes as large or small as you want. And that's the box that's going to use handwriting recognition to create those groups. So very easy to do. If there aren't any questions, I can show you how regular grading works as well. So let me jump around here. I apologize. More at the individual level. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this course. And I'm going to click on this assignment here. So here again are my questions. I'm at grading my submissions now. just like before, I just need to click on the question I want to grade. And grading individually, it works exactly the same as we just saw. But now obviously I'm going to take a look at every single student's submission. And if you have multiple TAs in here grading, that's fine. They can all be in here at once. When we click on that next ungraded question, it's exactly that. They're only going to see an answer that still needs to be graded. So they won't have to click through previously graded items. And they'll be able to see the rubric, the same rubric for each TA, and they can grade them. Also, at the individual level, we also have these annotation tools here. So if I click on this little T, I could add a comment in here if I wanted to. And I can add as many comments as I want. I can add additional ones, and it will start to save those comments for me in an easy drop down so I can apply them whenever I need to. I also have a little pencil icon. I can draw in here wherever I want to. If I'm using a tablet stylus, that's fine too. And I also have a little highlighting button here if I need to highlight. What's great about this is students can actually see this when they open up their graded assignment as well. There's also ability to give certain students specific adjustments. So if I thought this student deserved an extra half a point, I could type in 0.5 and I could give that student an extra half a point when I've graded them. I can also add comments in this field here. Students will be able to see those, and it will start to save my comments in this field in this dropdown so I can easily apply them to other students as well. What's also wonderful that's a time saver is, let's say I've been using Gradescope for a while and maybe I'm reusing this question and I already built out a rubric for it in the past. I could come in when I get started, I could click the import button here and I could go find my old assignment. I can find that question that I'm reusing. Here's the rubric I built out in the past. I can just click import rubric and it'll bring those all in for me automatically. So another big time saver. When it comes to rubric visibility for students when they're looking at their graded assignment, the default is that they're going to see every single rubric that was created and how they were scored. There's also the option to have students only see the rubric items that have been applied to them, or the instructor can choose that they see no rubric items at all, just their score. So those are some options there too as well. And like I mentioned, oh yeah, please.
You may need to, like 60 seconds ago, you were showing a window kind of off on the right nav where if I wanted to insert some comments, I could.
This type of window?
No, it was on the right nav.
Over here, where you can
insert,
yes. So if you want to click add rubric item, you can create your own rubrics. Is that
no, it wasn't a rubric item. It was just a comment. Like if I wanted to give a comment or feedback. Yeah. I think that's
yeah.
So does that show up just where on the page would that show up? Yeah. So so it's not specific to an item on the homework. Sorry for that. Where would that would this just show up like at the bottom of the paper? Or would there be a little window off to the side where they'd see that?
That would show up when we go ahead and open up a student's view here. So here's an example of where students are going to see their rubrics. They'll see how they were scored. They can see any of those comments that we added. There would also be an additional comment line down here underneath for that comment.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And the default way that you're going to grade is that you're going to grade the same answer for the same question for every student, and then you'll move on to the next question. And it really just helps to speed up the grading process, but like Gretchen mentioned, also helps to make sure that you're grading all your students using the same criteria. What's also really great too is that if you do have multiple TAs in here, if you assign sections inside your roster, your TAs would have the ability to click on the little submission button here next to the question. And when they open it up, they can actually choose their section, and then they'd only be grading those students inside their section. So another easy way to do that. There's also, oops, let me go back here. This little magnifying glass. If you're ever curious just to which students did you apply a specific rubric to, you can click this little magnifying glass and it'll give you a list of all the students you applied that rubric to. And if you do have multiple graders in here, it'll also tell you who graded them and who applied that rubric. And then the grading we're using here, this is what we call negative scoring. So our students are starting out with 3 points and we're taking away points for what they got incorrect. As you can see, I can also create positive rubrics. I just have to put a plus before my number. If we click on this rubric settings button here, I can also change this to positive scoring if I want. And then my students start off with 0 points and I give them points for what they got correct. And I can still create negative rubric items in there if I want to. And you can set these as your defaults through your course settings tab. So instructors don't have to go through and make these changes. If they know they're going to use this type of scoring every time, they can set these as their default so that they're always ready to go. The other really nice thing here too is, let's just say for this student, they're missing the half, and maybe I've graded 100 students and 50 of them have answered x squared plus c, and I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I should have only taken away a half a point. I can still come in here even after grading everybody and change that. And not only does it change it for the student, but it goes back and changes it for all the students I've already graded. So my rubrics aren't set in stone. As I continue to tinker with them, it will go back and it will update any of those students for me. So very easy to do. Any questions about grading?
Not so far.
Okay. Well, so that was kind of what I had planned to show, but I'm happy to show or answer questions or anything you'd like from here.
I do have one question, just in one thing that it's kind of hard for us to test, since we don't actually have classes with students of our own, is what is that view like when you do get done grading a test, get done with an exam? I know those grades can move over to Brightspace, but for all the comments that have been made here, how do you return that to the student? What is that process like?
So it's not going to actually transfer those into Brightspace. So students would have to access their graded material inside their Gradescope course. So it's not going to pass through any of the annotations or any of these comments.
Sure.
We would need to open that up. But I will say one thing over here, after you've graded your submissions and you click on this review grades tab, or it will automatically move you to the review grades tab. This is where you can click the publish grades button. And this is where this now makes it available to students to open up and see their graded assignment. You can always download grades in a CSV or an Excel file. You can export evaluations, those marked rubrics for each question, and you can export submissions, including all your grading information. This won't automatically transfer over to Brightspace, but you can create your own reports if you want to.
But the actual final grade score, does that transfer over to Brightspace? It
does. So let me,
okay, cool. Great.
Yeah, there would be a post grades to Brightspace button, and you would push those over and it would populate your Brightspace grade book. Now, one thing I want to mention there that's really important is make sure your grade item in Brightspace, that grade or that point total matches your Gradescope point total. Because if, let's say you made your Gradescope out of 50 and they scored 49 out of 50, which is great, if you make that worth 100 in Gradescope, it's still only going to push over the 49. And obviously that's much worse.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, they just want to make sure that those grade point totals match.
Okay.
Yeah. There is also an ability for students to request regrades, and instructors could turn this off, but by default it's on. So if a student opened up their question and they thought they deserved a regrade, because maybe they thought they'd put in the work, or maybe there was an error, they can click request a regrade, but only at the question level. If I close out this question, it tells me I have to select a question, because we don't want students thinking, I just need 3 points to get a B-. I'm just going to request regrades and hope for the best. No, they actually have to dig into it, but then they can click request a regrade. They can put in their request, and when they hit request a regrade, it will send an email to the person who graded them, and it will flag it on the instructor's side. And here's an example of what one looks like. So this student missed one of the two here, so they missed the whole point. The student wrote, since I got one of them correct, could I get an extra half a point? The instructor wrote back, okay, I'll give you 0.5, and gave them a 0.5 adjustment. So it's very easy for them to follow. But for instructors over here on the left, here's the regrade request button. And then they'd be able to see those students' regrade requests, and they can go in and regrade them. And if they've made an error in grading, they can still update that rubric, and it will go back and update that for everybody. And then down here in the bottom right corner is the regrade request settings. If they want to turn off regrade requests, they can just uncheck that button and click save and turn that off. Or they can actually have a start date and an end date. If they want to tell them, whenever I give you back a graded assignment, you have 48 hours to dig into it and request a regrade, they can do that too. And then the other thing I'll mention here really quick is the available statistical information. So if I open up this assignment here, yes, and then I go ahead and click on this statistics button, and Gretchen talked about this a little bit as well. But when I open up that statistics button, I can see how my students averaged on each question. I can see their minimum, median, maximum, mean, and standard deviation. Again, here are those question averages. If I actually click into a question, I can see how they averaged on each rubric item as well. So maybe something they're struggling with, something I need to hit a little harder in lecture, that type of thing. And then I also have the ability, if I jump back here, I can create my own customized tags. So for this question, I created a chapter tag, a learning objective tag, a difficulty tag, and a discipline tag. And to create a tag, you just need to click on that line and just start typing, and we'll start saving those tags so you can easily apply them to other questions. But once you've created tags, if you scroll back up here to the top right corner and you click on this show tags button, now I can see how my students averaged on those tagged items as well. So very easy to customize those if you need to. Any questions about anything at all?
I did have one additional question that I came across as I was doing some research the other day. I know when you are submitting or you're uploading submissions from the written assignment, like you showed, it can be either uploaded by the instructor or uploaded by the student. Is there any page limit or file size limit or file type it has to be? Any kind of restrictions or important things to know about uploading those submissions?
Great question. So for variable length assignments, let me go back here to our assignments tab. So for an exam quiz, the templated fixed length assignment that we looked at, they have to submit a PDF. And I believe, and Gretchen, maybe you can double check this for me, but I believe it's 100 megabytes is the limit.
Let me double check this. Hold on one
Yeah,
second.
if you wouldn't mind.
Yep.
But they have to submit a PDF. And I know there's an issue with maybe my students don't have a scanner, but we do have other help here and scanning work on a mobile device. So this is actually something that you can post to the students, but basically it allows them to download. They can download any free app that converts a picture on their phone into a PDF. So for instance, for iOS devices, it's called Scannable. For Android devices, we have one that's called Genius Scan, but these are step-by-step instructions so they can convert any image from their phone into a PDF to submit. So for the templated fixed length assignments, they have to submit a PDF because of that grouping, answer grouping functionality. Because if we allowed them to submit an image, it could be blurry or cropped or off to the side, and it would just create a separate group for everything it can't read. So for that reason, they have to submit a PDF. For homework problem set or for variable length assignments where they're submitting scratch paper, they can submit an image or they can submit a PDF, either or. Now, we also do have online assignments where students actually answer their questions live in Gradescope. And you can create questions like short answer, free response, multiple choice, and select all. There's also another question type that is a file upload question. And for that file upload question, they can actually upload any file type they want, whether it's a PDF, a Word doc, Excel, an audio file, video file, .heic, whatever they'd like. And the instructor would be able to see that and grade it.
I just put a guide in the chat. So this is a student file, or a student article, and it is submission upload troubleshooting. So this just goes through all of the different assignment types or file types for each of the assignment type. I don't see a size limit on this. So let me follow up with the team afterwards. But this article will go through a lot of those.
That's great. That's very helpful.
Yeah, that's great.
And the 100 megabytes for a PDF sounds reasonable because that would be a pretty large PDF file.
Right. Yeah, thank you, Gretchen. I appreciate that.
Sure.
All right, great questions. Any others?
None from me.
Okay, and in the workshops that we do, they're an hour long, but we go into great detail about everything that we've just talked about. And then we record those and we share those with the instructors that registered, and they can share those with any colleagues or TAs, and you can even post those if you have a support site that you'd like to post those to, you can do that too.
Awesome.
Okay.
Last call, last call for questions before we wrap up here.
It's not a question, but commentary. I just want to say that I've been looking at Gradescope's YouTube channel, and I find it very helpful, Melanie. It has everything from just short 2 to 3 minutes videos on a lot of topics that Ryan just covered. And it also has, what was it called? It was called Ignite Your Gradescope Love Affair, a power user top 10. So I just found it pretty helpful when I share that.
Yeah, that's
That
great.
sounds deep. Igniting my love affair with Gradescope. That's deep.
The last thing I'll leave you with too, anytime an instructor is inside their Gradescope account, down here in the bottom left, if they click on account or this little up arrow here, they can click on this getting started guide, and it will take them to this page here with links to videos on pretty much how to do everything inside Gradescope. And there's some forward student facing ones as well if they want to link to those, but really great resources. Always.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a really good page too, as well.
Mhm.
So
Jenny or and I don't remember if you go by Michael or Mike, I'm sorry, but do you all have a sense of like, are there particular, I'm going to be at Owen.
Mhm.
Are there particular programs or schools that lean more towards, I guess, their work sort of lends itself more towards using something like Gradescope?
I would say engineering,
Mhm.
Vanderbilt uses it a lot, and
Mhm.
computer science, a lot of STEM, but as you kind of saw, it's pretty applicable to a lot of different disciplines.
Yeah.
I think from what I've seen and from the instructors I've talked to that do use it,
Mhm.
I think the part that we showed of that AI assisted grading for the written portions,
Mhm.
I think if you've got written exams that are short answer, problem based, here's a situation, what's the answer, here's a graph, how do you read it, stuff like that is going to be much easier to integrate with Gradescope compared to write me a 7-page paper about yada yada yada.
Right.
So I think it's, at least from my view, it's less of a subject
Mhm.
that is going to be better suited and more of an assignment.
Yeah, more like the
Base.
design of the assignment.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes
It's one of those where I think short of a few classes, I think every class is going to have something that could work in Gradescope really well.
Mhm.
I don't think that every class can do every assignment out of here, because you're going to have those papers or those those PowerPoint slideshows or things like that that just don't fit with this, but that's fine.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Well, and so, on that point, we are in a beta right now with an essay assignment type. So here's an example of where students can submit a Word doc, a PowerPoint, or a PDF, and you would be able to see those, and you can comment and you can highlight them, and you can create your own rubrics here as well. And you can have those rubrics pop out if you want to grade them that way. And we're going to be updating this as we go through the beta. And this isn't always available. So if there is an instructor that wants the essay assignment type, they just need to email us at help@gradescope.com and we can add that in for them. But we're also going to have Turnitin Similarity added in there as well. So that's something that will be coming up in the future too.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, great. Anything else?
Not for me, just thank you all so much for offering this. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
Thank you, Ron and Gretchen as well for your time. And we appreciate it. I think that has us wrapped up for today. So
If there's any questions after today, just email us at help@gradescope.com. We usually get back to you within the hour during normal business hours, but just let us know if you've got any questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Bye-bye.
Good day.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.